So, you came back. Predictable as always. Well, might as well distract you for a bit. In this episode of An Average Guy, Learning Game Dev, we are going to see what's my process of making the game that I want. If you are like me, and you picked up game dev for one reason or another, chances are, you probably want to make a game. Also, it's quite obvious that you have something in mind, right? You have your dream game in your mind, and you want to make it. But, how? That was the question that I had, and the answer that I came to is quite strange. But stay with me for a second. I think it's quite common to see some bodybuilder looking jacked, and deciding that you are going to be like him, and acquire this physique. Or, you see an awesome artist and you decide that you want to paint like him. Well, you can't. Yet, remember, you are still average. So, in order to get there, you would need to make a couple of steps, right? Like, practice, I guess. I think that it's a good idea to treat your games like they are your kids. For example, with the first one you feel that you are definitely not prepared. It's probably going to end up doing things that you don't want it to do. It might end up disappointing you, but you are still going to love it. Well, with the second one, now you know what you are doing and how to do it. You've learned from your mistakes. Second one is a second chance to do things right. Trust me, as a first child I know. So let's make my first baby, shall we? I decided that simpler is better, and aimed very low. My goal was to make one level for a 2D platformer. I decided that for that purpose I am going to need a movable character. An enemy that can chase him, traps, and jump pads, and that should be all. I started by adding the character movement script, which I created after following the tutorial from the previous episode. I also tried to attach animations for the character, which somehow worked. After all of the confusion, and little tweaks here and there, I think I kind of got the handle of the animator tab. It was time to add the traps. I began by adding the sprite for the trap in its collision box. After that, I added a part to the player script, which told him that whenever he ran into an object that contains a tag from the type trap, he would need to stay static, play the death animation, and restart the level. As you can see, it did not work from the first try, of course. But I got it working eventually. And after all of that, I had a working spike trap, which kills me. I felt confident with my progress, which ultimately led to my demise. During the process of building the platforms for the player, I found out that he was getting stuck on the side of them. Found out that I can add a material to my collider, and if it had zero friction, it should fix the issue. It actually did, so yeah, if you have that issue, this is a simple fix. After that, I added the jump pad, but I decided that it needed a little something to make it noticeable. So, I played a little with the particle system that is included in Unity. I actually thought that it was awesome, and saw myself using it in the future for whatnot. I adjusted random values which I did not understand, until I got the results that I wanted. Professionals call this designing. Creating the enemy was quite hard, and I tried to do it a couple of times. I was able to make the enemy chase me, and kill me eventually, bringing an ending to my suffering. Until the level was restarted, and I needed to do it over again. I wanted to be able to kill the enemy as well, simply by jumping on its head, as you are supposed to, but this proved to be an impossible task for me. My idea was to add a collider to the enemy, and whenever my feet collide with it, it should destroy the game object of the enemy. No matter what I did, it did not work. So, I decided to try with a prototype. After some wonderful hours, I actually got it to work. I felt like the little void inside me was disappearing. It almost felt perfect, because when I tried to do it with the enemy, it worked. However, now the enemy was not able to kill me, so I decided to leave this task, for now. Now that I've got all of the components that I need, I decided that it was time to build the level. I started by building the platforms, and sprinkling some of my traps and enemies, here and there. Also, added a part where you would need to chain jump 3 jump pads, in order to reach the finish line. I added some rocks, trees, and more rocks, and finally, I got it. I know, you are impressed. I spent 3 days, making all of what that was. To be fair, I am happy, because I was able to complete a small goal. I know that it is not a AAA game, or, for that matter a game. But, it's something, I guess. If you want to see me becoming average, and learning how to implement combat system, in my future project, consider subscribing and liking the video. Finally, here is a recording of me being confused, why an invisible force is killing me.